Hello and welcome to the Scatterable channel, and today let me tell you what I think are the best upgrades you can make for your gaming PC right now in 2023. I understand a lot of my content is showing you guys how to get into PC gaming through my PC build guides, but I don't think I've really made a video addressing what's gonna happen after that. Like say 1 to 3 years after you build a computer and you're ready for an upgrade. But you may be confused on where to start and maybe like what kind of upgrade should you pursue first over others for your gaming PC, and if you are in that questionable scenario, then hopefully in this video I'll be laying out what I think are the most desirable and least desirable things you can do right now to upgrade your PC through 5 different categories. So once again, I'll be linking my favorite PC parts to upgrade to in the description below. If you want to check them out, you don't have to get them. You're welcome to choose any PC parts you want when you're upgrading your gaming PC, because that's the beauty of it. But those are going to be down there if you just want to check them out. So with that said, let's get started with the absolute, straight up best upgrade you can make for your gaming PC right now. Prices right now for M.2 SSDs and SATA SSDs are at an all-time low, and it is stupid how cheap they're selling for. If you're that person who, say, built one of my PC build guides a year ago, and your boot drive is a 512GB M.2 SSD, and you have just kept that drive, and you're looking at Starfield and potentially getting it, well, right now the preload is at 120 gigabytes, and the full game, once it releases, could very well be much higher than that, which could be half that 512GB M.2 SSD. So if you have a gaming PC right now, get more storage. It is really cheap, whether it be a 1TB, 2TB, or even 4TB M.2 SSD that you can plug right below your boot drive or the back of your motherboard if you have an ITX motherboard. It is so cheap to get a lot of fast solid state storage. And once again, I'll be linking my favorite M.2 SSDs from different sizes and different prices in the description below, like today's sponsor, which is Solidigm and their new P44 Pro. This is their latest flagship M.2 PCI Gen 4.0 drive, and to put this into layman terms, this is the RTX 4090 of PCI Gen 4.0 drives. What I mean by that is that this boasts up to 7,000 megabytes of read speed and 6,500 megabytes of write speed, and in addition to its DRAM controller and TLC memory, it is one of the few M.2 SSDs on the market that features an SK Hynix microcontroller. So whether you're a gamer, content creator, or someone who just needs a solid and reliable M.2 SSD for your gaming PC or system, this fortunately comes with a 5-year warranty, which makes it a really nice bargain for an all-around M.2 SSD. And the last thing I'm going to mention is that this only consumes 5.3 watts of power, so you don't need to stick a huge heatsink onto the P44 Pro to keep it cool, despite those fast read and write speeds. So if this drive entices you, then I highly recommend you check out the link in the description below to learn more, or even potentially check out the Solidigm P44 Pro. So yes, I still believe that storage is absolutely the best upgrade you can make right now for your gaming PC, because it makes so much sense given how large game file sizes have been becoming lately on PC gaming. But the next best upgrade, and this is the more obvious one, is going to be upgrading your graphics card. Upgrading your graphics card is going to have the most significant performance increase on your gaming PC, way more than, say, just upgrading your processor and motherboard. And right now the GPU market is in an interesting spot, because I think too many of us are fixated on how lackluster RTX 4000 and RX 7000 have been for the average consumer for their mainstream graphics cards, and not their top-end 4090 and 7900 XTXs. But I think what we're all ignoring is how cracked the used graphics card market is. And I covered this in a recent tier list video, but there are some RTX 3000 and RX 6000 GPUs that have been selling for excellent prices, and the price to performance of those, I mean, most of the time, or I guess we could say 3 years ago, it wasn't, as desirable, because new graphics cards could actually deliver pretty good performance if you bought them brand new versus used. But in today's market, the new graphics cards that have been coming out have been kind of lackluster. So getting a used graphics card which is near the performance of a new one, even say without a warranty, well, costing maybe a few $100s less, is, I think, more appealing. So definitely look towards the used market if you're looking for a GPU upgrade. There aren't that many, or really there's only like 3 good brand new GPU options you can upgrade to. but they start at $800 with the 7800 XT, and they go up from there, because everything else below that I don't think is as desirable to upgrade to, but absolutely go use if you're gonna spend anything less than like $700, no, $600 on a new graphics card for your system. Then third, and this kind of ties into our first and most desirable upgrade for your gaming PC, is upgrading your memory. Because along with really cheap M.2 and solid state storage prices, the same has been going for RAM. So if you are not happy at all with your RAM kit, or if you wanted something that had more performance with having a higher speed and tighter cache latency, maybe with a better cooling heatsink that could look cooler in your system, then that would be the time to splurge on that. Or if you're that person who has 16 gigabytes of memory in your system and you want to future-proof it with 32 gigabytes, yeah, I'm gonna still say 32 because 64 is still way overkill for gaming, then of course now is the time. Or if you wanted to maybe invest in DDR5 memory into a new system, then that is also really cheap right now as well, which is pretty nice because it kind of cancels out how expensive DDR5 motherboards have been for Intel and AMD. So once again, memory is really cheap right now. You will get a little bit of an increase in performance, but I see this more as like future-proofing your system for when eventually overall system usage will be potentially exceeding 16 gigabytes of RAM in the future. Whereas that transition for 8 gigabytes happened, let's say, 3 or 4 years ago. So who knows what we'll be in 1 to 2 years with 16 gigabytes of RAM. So now might be a good time to upgrade since memory is really cheap. And from here on out, I think the upgrades are not too crazy and not like, oh my God, I have to get it. I mean, at this point, you're just coasting. But if you've got the 3 previous upgrades in your system already, then I think looking at the cooling and overall functionality of your computer is probably the next upgrade. Now, first off, of course, make sure your computer is in a good spot in your room. Don't have it on a carpet floor where it'll get really hot and not get any good quality air. And of course, if it is, say, on your desk, please clean it out, because who knows, you could be sacrificing your GPU temps by just having a really dusty front panel or top panel that you have to clean off. So please look at those 2 things first before looking into any cooling upgrades. But once you've done that and you've seen that maybe there are some deficiencies in your cooling when it comes to your CPU, GPU, or even like your RAM, then go ahead and install a program like HW Monitor and pinpoint those down. And from there, you can look at buying a nice set of fans or a new CPU cooler or better thermal paste for your gaming PC as you say repaste your CPU or GPU, depending on how you want to roll with that. And do look at those first, because performing a full case swap for your PC is time consuming and it's a lot of effort. And if you are going to do that, please sell your old PC case. Don't throw it away, because it's going to end up in a landfill. Sell it to somebody who could reuse it in another project or another system they want to sell. So please do that if you're going to do a case swap to something that has more airflow and better functionality if you're looking for that. And then lastly, and this is the one probably a lot of you guys are going to be surprised with, but a CPU and motherboard upgrade is the least desirable right now for a gaming PC. And that's just simply because when you do an upgrade to your processor, you're not going to see that big of a jump in FPS. However, those CPU upgrades probably aren't going to be life-changing for your gaming experience, because I'm willing to bet a lot of you who are watching this video play your games at high to ultra settings and not the absolute lowest. Because when you run your games at the absolute lowest of graphical settings at low resolutions like 1080p on more basic titles like Valorant, Apex Legends, League of Legends, or even Fortnite, there you can run into CPU bound scenarios where your GPU is not being taxed at all, and it's just all through the CPU for how fast it wants to run the game. And the majority of you who are doing that cursed way of doing PC gaming is very few. But if you're in that area, then it would be worth looking into a CPU upgrade like with a 7800X3D if you want all the frames per second. But if you're an average PC gamer and you don't do that, you do regular game settings, regular graphics settings, then a CPU upgrade, even at high resolutions like 1440p and 4K, won't make as big of a difference as doing a graphics card upgrade. But nonetheless, it can still be an upgrade, especially if you satisfied all the conditions and all the other categories in this video, because it's pretty much the last meaningful upgrade you can make with your gaming PC. But I'm just being picky there. I would totally do the first 4 categories of this video until you want to maybe consider upgrading your CPU and motherboard. But really, you can't go wrong with your gaming PC. upgrade it however you want. You ultimately know what's best. But of course, if you watched this video up until this point, then hopefully it was a bit more informative and maybe steering you in the right direction. And if that's the case, then totally give this video a like, because it's a different kind of video. It's not a tier list, it's not a PC build guide, it's more of a sit down and talk. And if you've enjoyed my style of commentary, then you probably should subscribe, because this is how I usually am in most of my videos. So with all that said, thank you so much for watching, and this is the Scattervault channel, signing out.